With the rapid shift towards digital payments, real-time transactions and AI-driven solutions, how can businesses in the ASEAN region optimize their cash management strategies to stay competitive?
Great question, Julie. And I think we haven't seen as much digitalization as we have seen in the last 5 to 6 years. Maybe it was a bit of COVID, but maybe also a bit of a catch up in terms of all the new technologies that were coming into our part of the world. So instant payments has been proliferating through Southeast Asia, and we are helping our clients to navigate that landscape to enable them to collect and pay better. So one of our solutions is One Collect. It was an app that we launched about 4 years ago in order to help businesses and merchants collect using QR codes, which is quite prevalent in Southeast Asia. You can use One Collect to collect domestic QR payments. You can also use it to collect international QR payments like WeChat and Ali. And we've also started to work with countries, government to government, to enable domestic QRs to be availed and accessed by other countries. So, for example, my PayNow QR can be accessed from Malaysian clients who are coming to Singapore and vice versa. So this proliferation of QRs and instant payments for merchants has been really one of the most popular products that have been taken up. The second, I would say, is really for the new economy push. We're talking about companies, businesses who are starting up digitally or who are moving into the digital realm. So they are putting their products and services on websites, into apps that they create, and they all need API connected payments and collections. And what we've done is we've created our suite of payments and collections all on an API platform to enable connectivity into these websites as well as mobile apps. And I think that's really spurred a lot of the cross-border and domestic demand for payments in Southeast Asia.
Given the diverse regulatory and operational differences across the Asia-Pacific region, how does OCBC leverage its regional presence and expertise to support businesses in the region?
Another great question, Jelly. I think the regional objectives of cash management haven't really changed in a way. It's all about visibility, mobility, and optimization of the payments and the balances that you have. So one of the things that we've done to help our clients go regional will be to help them to visualize or to see their account balances across the various markets that they open and operate in. And in doing so, we provide our Velocity platform, an e-banking platform that is consistent across the countries for them to look and monitor their balances in these markets. The second thing is connectivity. Payment connectivity has really moved leaps and bounds. Besides host-to-host, which was the traditional method that corporates would use, API connectivity is really moving a lot faster. In fact, we see 3 times more requests for API connectivity than we do host-to-host with the Asian clients that we deal with. One of the things we've done to help regionalization is to create a regional connectivity through a single node in Singapore in order to collect the APIs and to then distribute it to the countries for payments for our customers. We've also developed a similar node in China because one of our main client segments, the Chinese clients, would prefer to connect onshore and then have the payment instructions distributed across Southeast Asia. So we find that API connectivity through a single regional node is actually a very powerful solution to help clients regionalize. We also have done some what I would call bespoke sweeping solutions. General liquidity management is important for regional corporates, but particularly in Southeast Asia and Greater China, that connectivity has created a different kind of liquidity solutioning. We have domestic sweeps, which is quite common, and they move into the pools that they would have in Singapore as well as Hong Kong. And then we've created a cross-border sweep between Singapore and Hong Kong to help these clients to manage their liquidity between the two big regions, the Greater China and the Southeast Asia regions. So this is actually a solution that our Asian corporates, particularly our Chinese customers, actually appreciate in a great way. And last but not least, I have to mention FX and multi-currency accounts. To run a proper regional treasury center in Southeast Asia and broader Asia, you do need to have the full suite of multi-currency accounts and FX APIs that will connect into the regional treasury centers in Singapore and Hong Kong. And in doing so, we help some of our clients to bridge into actually to not only bridge, but actually to accelerate their creation of the regional treasury centers to support their businesses across the region.
Excellent. Thank you, Melvin. So, as businesses seek greater liquidity, security, and efficiency in their payment processes, how does OCBC help them meet these needs? And what innovative solutions does OCBC offer to ensure businesses stay ahead in an increasingly digital and fast-paced payment landscape?
We are seeing a lot of innovation coming into the space of liquidity management and account rationalization. One of the things that we've seen, for example, is that customers are no longer keen to open multiple bank accounts and then have to rationalize all of them later on. We've developed our virtual account solutions to do both robo as well as pobo. In other words, receive on behalf and pay on behalf, in order to support a company who wants to who manages many different businesses or projects to be able to access and segregate their funds in these different projects, and then to do payments and receipts as if they were bank accounts. But this helps with the liquidity solutioning because you only have one main account and you can have all your funds there to optimize. The virtual account solutions with robo and pobo capabilities availed through our Velocity platform actually is a very powerful solution and innovation, I think, in the current times. The second thing is really to help our clients access real-time payment rails in the domestic markets. These are regional clients who need to make payments down on the ground. What we call the API in and instant payment out on the ground is a very powerful solution. But one of the biggest issues that you see there is how do you handle the AML and the sanction screening? So we've built our AML and sanction screening into this new way of making payments, the API in and instant payment out, so that we can meet the regulatory requirements for these regional corporates. And last but not least, something I'm most proud of is our first foray into a commercialization of blockchain technology in payments. It's in the area of conditional payments, where we have helped a government to be a government entity who has many infrastructure projects to manage these projects through conditional payments. And what we do is we mint a tokenized deposit for them, and we wrap it with smart contracts that they need for conditions to be met, so that they can issue these tokens to their main contractors and their subcontractors for ongoing payments in the project. And this particular solution is first in market. We're very proud of it. And we think it will be transformational in the way that construction industry manages their payments, and also how conditional payments are going to be used in the future.
Excellent. That sounds like a really fantastic solution. So looking ahead, what new innovations does OCBC plan to introduce to stay ahead of market trends and continue supporting businesses in their cash management and payment needs?
Well, it's a really exciting time to be in cash management today. With the passing of the Genius Act going on in the US, we do anticipate that stable coins and tokenized deposits in US dollars would start to come into the market. We see it in two ways. I think one is in the supply chains with the large Western MNCs working with their suppliers in Southeast Asia. We also see potentially the use of tokens, retail tokens out here in Southeast Asia as these proliferate in the US. We think that this is the area of focus that we want to do. I mean, the banks need to really get on board the tokenized deposits, crypto assets, work with SWIFT, which has been just announced, where we'll be working on a new ledger solutioning, and OCBC is part of that consortium, to be able to create a standardized way in which we could manage regulated stablecoins and tokenized deposits within our banking framework, and then help our clients to be able to accept and receive these tokens and off-ramp them into their bank accounts. We do see also a potential for use cases for domestic stablecoins going out. Those might be a little bit more in the medium term, but I think that's another space to look at. The third area I would say is really around use of alternate currencies for trade. And in Asia, we're looking very closely at what China is doing with the renminbi. They've recently announced a processing center for ECNY in Shanghai, and are starting to look at how they would take ECNY out. I wouldn't call it de-dollarization, but I certainly will call it a very way of making trade transactions through a different currency than US dollars. And I think that's going to be also quite transformational in Asia.